learners, this is Dr. Ruchika Kuba, Director, School of Health Sciences and your course coordinator for this course on lifestyle and non-communicable diseases. You have already learnt about the various non-communicable diseases, their risk factors and the preventive measures that can be adopted. Let us now talk about few case studies. In this session, we shall discuss the community level interventions for NCDs, and we have with us Dr. Gurmeet, Associate Professor Community Medicine, Lady Hardinge Medical College, New Delhi. Welcome Dr. Gurmeet.
Thank you ma'am, thank you so much.
So, to begin with, what do you think should be the objectives for this session? What are the outcomes that the learner may expect after they undergo this session?
So basically I think everybody has already learnt previously about what are non-communicable diseases and what are their risk factors, how to go about them, how to ensure that understanding of the risk factors at the earliest for better prevention and control. So today we will be talking about at community level what people can do, what all are the initiatives which are available at community level where people can understand and undergo early screening of non-communicable diseases. So we will be discussing the community level interventions, the various modalities through which the interventions can reach the community, and discuss the individual and the community responsibilities for which the prevention and control of non-communicable diseases can be done.
Okay, that's really great. So, what are the community level interventions for non-communicable diseases?
So, basically if we go about the basic question of the hour, that is what are community level interventions, they are basically strategies and certain actions which are implemented at community or population level to prevent, detect, manage and reduce the burden of these diseases, like the non-communicable diseases including diabetes, hypertension, cancer, cardiovascular diseases and the chronic respiratory diseases. Now basically these interventions are aiming to promote healthy behaviors, enhance the early diagnosis and improve the access to healthcare and build supportive environments through collaboration with local health system and community workers and the public at large. That is how we will be going ahead with the community level interventions.
So, what are the goals of community level interventions?
So, when we talk about the goals of community level interventions, basically we are trying to reduce the mortality and morbidity leading to the burden of non-communicable diseases, to reduce the burden of non-communicable diseases. Now in these diseases we are basically talking about the diabetes, hypertension, cancers as well as the chronic respiratory diseases. Now even the government is going towards the other non-communicable diseases, hence there is a national program where it has changed the modalities to include all the non-communicable diseases. So we are providing a continuum of care through bidirectional referral and follow-up and enhance the health literacy and community empowerment. Thereby people will understand what interventions.
So, what are the government-led initiatives? Can you name few of them?
Yes. So, today I will tell you that there are various levels of interventions which are led by government. Then there are certain self-help groups, then there are NGOs, then there are various public health foundations and AIIMS related institutions, initiatives, and there are certain standalone initiatives also, because nowadays everybody has to understand that this is one disease which is like a slow epidemic engulfing the entire community as a whole. So when we talk about a government led initiative, first we can discuss about the NPNCD, that is the National Program for Prevention and Control of Non-Communicable Diseases. Now this is a program which is a umbrella of various diseases.
So, what is the main goal of this national program which you are talking about, which government has initiated for the prevention of control of non-communicable diseases?
Okay, so this program basically is aiming at early diagnosis as well as early screening of the risk factors of non-communicable diseases which will be impending into a full-blown disease for a person at large over a period of time. So basically a nationwide community screening of blood pressure, blood sugar levels, cancers and referrals for health promotion and workforce training is implemented in this.
That is really interesting that the whole country is being covered, and this is being covered by the government itself. But are there any other government led programs that we are having?
Yes, now recently from the year 2016-17 onwards, Ayushman Bharat is the first health insurance and universal health coverage scheme led by Government of India, free of cost for the people at large. And this is one scheme where there are two components to it, where Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana as well as the Health and Wellness Center concept has been introduced in the community, so that people understand where they have to go at the community level to get this free non-communicable diseases screening and management services, where even the counseling and health promotion at community level can be implemented.
So you have we've heard about the Arogya Mandirs. Is it the same thing?
Yes, these are the same thing. They are under the Ayushman Bharat scheme, and they are providing at community level, at the sub-center level, the lowest level, all the facilities for early diagnosis.
So we have a lot of accessibility and availability of the healthcare at the grassroots level. We talked about the government initiatives at the central level. Now, are there any state level initiatives also? Yes. Can you give an example maybe of few states or something?
There are certain states nowadays, mostly all states are understanding the need for it. And if we talk about North India, we have various states where they have put up certain initiatives, like in Punjab, in Uttar Pradesh, in Himachal Pradesh. Punjab actually started a Mission Fateh campaign, which was originally started in COVID-19. And that was a time where they understood that people should be made aware of how to take up responsibility for their own health and how to come up for early diagnosis of COVID-19. But later on, now it has taken a mission mode towards non-communicable diseases, where the same drive which was initiated for people keeping the goal intact of people's health in people's hands, so that they figure out that they are the ones who have to be driven to understand that we have to go for screening of non-communicable diseases and understand the risk factors associated, so that the diagnosis is made early, treatment can be started early and the burden can be reduced.
So people's responsibility and people's participation.
Yes, that was the main aspect of Mission Fateh campaign. Then in Uttar Pradesh, a Dastak integration program came into action, where initially it was started for maternal and child health, where the mother was counselled and told that she has to be aware of the warning signs, what the child is facing and what are the warning signs during pregnancy also, so that rather than expecting only the doctor to diagnose everything, she should immediately seek the help of the doctor, so that the pregnancy is sustained with a fruitful outcome. But later on they took out campaigns for various diseases, particularly non-communicable diseases, because Uttar Pradesh is one place where you see the divides, the urban as well as the rural divide. So there are people, there are children with stunting, with underweight, and then there is overnutrition, imbalance. So that was the need that the Dastak integration program came into action in Uttar Pradesh, thereby making people understand that non-communicable diseases is not just the disease of elderly, but it can be a disease of adults, it can be a disease of adolescent as well. Then in Himachal Pradesh, a catch campaign came into action. Now, Himachal Pradesh was basically a place where initially iodine deficiency disorders used to occur, and initially all the campaigns were, the catch campaign also had the component of diagnosing goiter as well as iodine deficiency disorders in Himachal Pradesh. But later on they realized that it is not just the iodine deficiency disorders, but it is an interlink of the web of causation of non-communicable diseases which are superimposing. So hypothyroidism is not a standalone disease, but a web of various non-communicable.
So what you are trying to explain is that Himachal Pradesh is a belt which has got deficient iodine, because of which you have a disease in which there is swelling in the neck, which is called goiter, and it can also have symptoms where your gland, thyroid gland, which has got a lot of effects on the body, can have a lot of people having this problem. So that was the main problem happening there, and that is what we have now engaged into this particular program, added on to the non-communicable disease, because there are a lot of other reasons.
Yeah, because hypothyroidism itself can lead a person to low metabolic rate. So low basic metabolic rate is going to lead to obesity, and then obesity is going to be the interlink between the various non-communicable.
Yeah, like we've earlier experts have also told that obesity is the mother of all non-communicable diseases. So that is how it all, as you said, there is a web of causation and everything is interlinked. Now we have in our country very important network of community health workers who help in taking the health right to the doorstep of the people. Now who are these community health people or the workers?
It is a very important question, ma'am, because this is something which people are confused about. They think doctors are available or healthcare workers are available only in big hospitals. That is not the case. That is only the tertiary level hospitals or the district hospitals where you have specialist doctors. But these community level interventions are right now getting implemented through the national program of NPNCD as well as Ayushman Bharat at the grassroots level, that is the village level, where it is hardly a population of 1,000 people. Now here the frontline workers are ASHA, the accredited social health activist, then the Anganwadi workers who are working at the Anganwadis, and then the ANMs, that is the auxiliary nurse midwives, who are the backbone of our system. They are the actual ground level workers who are telling us the trends, the changing phenomena, and these were the ones who gave the insight even in this Uttar Pradesh Dastak campaign. They were the ones who told ki in the same village there is a child who is overweight, and in the same village there is a child who is underweight, and it is only because of the food choices and food preferences, not because of there is no availability of the food, but the factors which are influencing people to understand what should be the right food choices. So these grassroots level workers are the ones who have the niche to understand what is the psychology of a person, how to make them understand that what is the need which may not be their felt need, but is actually the felt need for the country as a whole. Because once people understand that being healthy and having a disease-free life is the main goal in life, then only the burden of various non-communicable diseases can come into control.
Yeah. So what I understood what you are telling is that basically we have these main three types of workers, that is the ASHA and the ANM and the Anganwadi workers, who are basically at the doorstep. They are from your same village, so they understand your problems, and you also are more comfortable talking to them. So whatever problems, health problems that you may have, one thing is that you can approach them because they are approachable. If you have to go to a district hospital or outside hospital, you have to travel, you have to stand in queues, you have to then get very restricted time to be able to explain. Over here, these people can come to your house because they do regular visits.
Yes.
So you are able to talk to them like a friend, like a counselor, and they come and themselves also identify some problems may be there. For example, when they come to your house and they see that your child is lower than normal weight, then themselves say, oh, ये तो बच्चे का वजन ही नहीं है, so आप क्या कर रहे हो, क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है? So they are like your friends, they are like your buddies, and they help you, well-wishers. So they help identify problems, you can approach them, and they help for bringing the health care to the doorstep. And main type of health that they bring is promotive health, that helps to improve your health, and also some preventive health, and of course identifying certain diseases and telling you when you should approach a higher center for reference. So if I understood, this is what we are.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely, this is right, and we need to figure out that yes, we have specialists. We have specialists at the primary healthcare center, then the community health center. We have a first doctor at the primary health center, and then the specialist MD doctors at the community health center as well as district hospital level. They are very well needed, but for early risk factors, these ground level force can help you identify right in the beginning. So I think people should understand their need and their state. Don't take them like that they are just doing their jobs. It's not like that. They are actually the main force who are your well-wishers, who can help you identify.
So that is, I think, a very important thing you have discussed. Now, as I was telling that one of their important thing is for health promotion, but health promotion means promoting your health, and this is something which the people should understand. So what do you mean by community engagement for health promotion?
Now, community engagement, when we talk about, is basically something where we have to understand it is not always the standalone aspects which can work together. People at large have to understand the need, because various aspects of health are linked in the community. आपने अपना घर साफ रखा और आपने बाहर गंदगी कर दी, तो उससे आप बीमारियों को न्योता फिर भी दे रहे हैं, क्योंकि जो मक्खियाँ बाहर हैं they can come inside. So those insects as well as those breeding grounds can affect your health inside the house as well. So it is a community commitment which is required. So that is why a community engagement is required. So just initiating one person or one person driven drive is at individual level, but a community as a whole has to understand that there is a need to work together, all the hands together, for understanding what are the various platforms from where we can ensure NCDs, the non-communicable diseases screening, and awareness sessions can be driven. So one person can call everyone else together, and then they can discuss what are the issues which their community is having and how they can go about it. For example, there has been issues which have been reported in Uttar Pradesh also, as well as in Himachal Pradesh, that we are controlling iodine deficiency disorders, but still there is so many non-communicable diseases coming, because they were not initially interlinking obesity as the factor which was due to the hypothyroidism, and then it was understood that people have to be made understood that iodized salt is important. If we do not take them in their diet as a whole, that interlinkage will not be completed, and that is why this is a important aspect where community engagement in form of village health, sanitation and nutrition committees play into action. Now this village health and sanitation nutrition committees are led by these ground level workers along with the nearest primary health center. They understand at a given point in time what are the issues going on. For example, there could be seasonal variation. There could be summers due to which there are certain diseases happening. Then there could be certain issues that there has been drought. So the field has not had a yield which is good enough for the entire village. So how much is the nutritive value requirement for each person? That needs to be assessed from time to time, because all these things are going to be interlinked. Because what has happened earlier in the past, that people conveniently savage to ki chalo let's have packed food, let's have chips, let's have biscuits. Since we are not able to grow anything, these packaged foods are helping, and then they were feeling that see we are becoming healthy, but that was because of the risk factors, increased weight.
So that is a very important thing, that again giving the power in the hands of people, and this doesn't, what you are explaining doesn't actually mean that we have to wait for again these community health workers. You can always be a volunteer. Yes. You can become a volunteer and initiate a drive. You can also help and have small health education camps yourself as a volunteer with the help of these people. These people will guide you, they are always there, but you can also be a very active participant for the benefit of the own village and the villagers. Is there a role of diet, as you were saying?
Yes,
what is the role of diet?
It has to be an individual driven as well. It is not always that the community health workers or the frontline workers have to do everything. It is your diet which explains a lot, because if you take lot of sugars, lot of carbohydrates, lot of fats, these things are the causative risk factors towards obesity. So the choice of foods makes a lot of difference. People are nowadays having excess calories. That time has gone where we used to have diets calorie deficit, but now it is excess calories but with low or no nutritive value.
We've had 3 lectures on diet, and very nicely it has been explained that how we should think about a diet, and how a diet, when not correctly planned, can cause lot of disease.
And that is why the latest My Plate of the Day concept, which has come from the National Institute of Nutrition, has put forward that My Plate of the Day has to be formulated by each individual as per their health requirements. So if you are overweight, your portion size should be different. If you are obese, your portion size should be different, where more aspects to the food pyramid basis where the vegetables have come into action. Now we don't say that carbohydrates should be the 60% of the diet. Now the carbohydrates have taken a back seat. Now they are at a lower level, but more of vegetables, more of protein rich diet, including non-vegetarian food as well as like eggs, or maybe vegetarian items like pulses and legumes, which can provide the daily nutrient requirement.
I think here I would like to say one more thing is that basically it's very important that the locally available and the locally grown food should be used, not just because they will be much cheaper, but they will be more easily available, and we don't need to really go into finding some fruit which is non-seasonal and feel that that is a very important thing. No. For example, a very simple example is between almonds and taking chana. So the chana is much cheaper, more easily available in most parts of our country, and it has almost equal or better nutritive value. So these are the things that we may need to think about, and I think we have enough number of sessions that taken on this, already explained, but here I thought I will just stress it once more.
Absolutely right, absolutely right. This is the most important aspect which a person has to understand. Local foods are sufficient. They are the needs of people based on that particular region. So that is something very right, ma'am.
So then let us talk now about something about community engagement and health promotion, some other initiatives that can be taken which will be useful for the community.
Yeah. So in this we are basically talking about how to ensure that a person remains healthy. Our BMI stands between normal ranges and it does not go towards overweight and obesity, because with age the basal metabolic rate changes, and that can be done only if we have regular exercises. Now regular exercises can be a physical aerobic exercise, or nowadays the importance of yoga has been understood by people yet again, that it helps to maintain the homeostasis of the body, and yoga, if initiated right at the school level, then people understand it as a part and parcel of their daily lifestyle. So I think the implementation of community as a whole to figure out how to reduce stress through physical activity, through aerobic exercises, long walks, or maybe yoga can be well understood by people, thereby promoting health.
So very rightly said that yoga or any other physical exercise for that matter not only helps in maintaining your physical health, but also reduces stress, so maintains you to be mentally healthy. As we read in the first session itself that health does not mean only physical freedom from disease, but it also means to be socially well adjusted and mentally healthy. So that yoga is a very important thing, and if you do yoga with the rest of the people, your social health also improves. So that's okay. We also have certain school health programs that are running in our country. So can you elaborate a little bit on that?
The school health programs nowadays are led by school also, like in private schools, as a compulsory aspect of their syllabus. Plus they are led by state as well. Now school health program is basically aiming at ensuring that a child understands the need for staying healthy. Now it includes everything right from general physical examination of the entire body, plus the daily lifestyle, where the sleep pattern, the diet pattern and the food choices are put into action. Here also the important aspect what has come up is identifying of the high risk behaviors. Now many a times tobacco or smoking can be something which is taken up by children seeing their parents or their relatives or certain uncles nearby their house. Let us try. Now that trying can eventually become part and parcel of their daily life, which is a very dangerous aspect. So these school health programs help them to understand that we have to have a healthy lifestyle rather than developing a high risk behavior.
I think one very important also part of the school health is that because children are the ambassadors of every house, and they also carry the message, to the houses back, that so they can instruct their parents, and parents always listen to what the children say. Like we had the campaign of no firecrackers. Similarly, eating nutritious food, telling the mothers that no, I will not eat this and make this, will make a lot of sea change into the families and ultimately into the communities. So I think the school health does have a very important role to play for our prevention of the non-communicable diseases. Now we talked about the ANMs and the other community health workers. Now how can they also help? What exactly are the components or activities that they can perform to supplement? Yes.
So when we talk about their job responsibilities, it is not just that they are paying visit. They are paying visit, they are understanding people, they are understanding their needs, but then they are the ones who are connecting them to these government led initiatives. They are like the brand ambassadors, where people who are not having those finances to seek help, that can be provided through the government led initiatives free of cost. So basically the ASHAs, ANMs, they conduct door to door screenings, provide follow ups and encourage treatment adherence for those who have been diagnosed with diabetes or hypertension or any other non-communicable diseases. Now nowadays they have digital tools along with them. They are having apps from which they are connected to the national NCD portal, where they put on all their information. Because this Ayushman Bharat which we were talking about earlier, this is basically a platform which ensures to have all the digital developments which are occurring based on health records, what were there earlier, what is the status now, that can be put in one section. And it is available on net, so it is easily accessible. Anytime if you needed a tertiary care intervention, it is very easy for the doctor to log in and understand what is the background history and how the reports have been so far. So all this linkage is provided by these community health workers.
Yeah, so this is a great revolution that we have been able to do, and that is having a health card, as you said. So that health card, if you are registered into the health card, every consultation you have, every investigation you have gets recorded there, and wherever to whomever doctor you go, they can see this health card and then they can do the needful for you, and they know the previous history what there is. Now what is the role of NGOs and academic sector involvement? Can you give some examples of that also?
Okay. So various NGOs which are working in the country have developed various campaigns, like we can talk about Hriday campaign. Now Hriday campaign is the youth health education and tobacco control programs in school and communities, because this was one campaign which was initially in an incipient stage, but after COVID-19, when sudden mass myocardial infarction attacks happened, that was the time when they realized that they have to figure out what is happening, why the advent of MI in youth is occurring. So these people have started a screening of non-communicable diseases at school levels and at community levels. Then there is PHFI and AIIMS, that is the Public Health Foundation of India, and AIIMS, as we know, at various levels in the country we have various AIIMS. We have AIIMS Delhi, and in other states also, each state has one AIIMS now. So that is the topmost tertiary care center, but they have understood that urban slum, which is there in every society, a slum area from where all the guards, all the maids, everybody is coming. There was a time they used to be disease free and they were having more propensity of communicable diseases, but nowadays the shift has changed. Now they are the ones who are the carriers of the non-communicable diseases, and they are having high risk factors of non-communicable diseases. So these are the sectors which are helping in urban slum screening of community based level lifestyle interventions for control of non-communicable diseases.
Now what are the key services that are available at the community level? We spoke about a lot of stakeholders, but what are the services which are available?
Okay, so community level interventions, when we talk about, basically the most important is population enumeration. Now what do you understand by population enumeration is that understanding how much is the burden of each sector, that is the each age group in the population, how many under 5 you have, how many adolescents you have, how many adults you have, how many elderly you have, because based on that the approach toward non-communicable diseases will vary. The aspects at which the disease has occurred will also vary. Then apart from this, there is a risk assessment using community based assessment checklist. Now CBAC is the community based assessment checklist, which is basically the heart and the soul of community level interventions, because our key worker, the ASHA, she is the one who is going to use this checklist, which is a total enumeration of various modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors which people may not be aware of, thereby making them aware that yes, there are certain risk factors which are present in your daily life which may not be apparent right now or may be apparent, but they need intervention. So population enumeration along with risk assessment holds the major key role. Then the health promotion through IC and BCC activities. IC basically means information education strategy, which means like you put up posters, you put up advertisements where people can see and understand a particular aspect. Now BCC is a behavioral change strategy where these community level workers play a key role. Like for example, somebody has, some child has diarrhea. So they understand that how ORS needs to be used, that demonstration that this is a ORS packet, isko kholiye and you put it in 1 liter of water, and how much is the frequency that you have to give this water to the child who is suffering from diarrhea. That is a BCC strategy through which people understand. And now the BCC strategy focusing on lifestyle modification are holding all health promotion activities including yoga, where they make them understand that if you are not bent for a very strenuous physical activity exercises, yoga is something which will help you to keep a peace as well as figure out that low risk factors are made of non-communicable diseases, and if at all there are risk factors, they can be arrested at a incipient stage. Then they can screen the non-communicable diseases through regular BP checkup, BP monitoring can be done, regular diabetes control can be figured out for people who are diagnosed case of diabetes, and the family members who are at risk. They can get their blood sugar tested so that to figure out that they are still in normal range or suddenly they are developing impaired glucose levels. So all these along with the referral of the suspect cases are the key components which are the services provided at the community level, where all these community level frontline workers are helping to counsel and make people aware about the lifestyle guidelines which are required to be imbibed by people at large.
Okay. Now, how do they do some recording? How do they actually quantify whatever activities have been done?
So that is done nowadays by the community based checklist which we had talked about. There is a checklist which you can see, like for example, this is for one ASHA worker has a form where they can provide the personal details of the person, as well as along with that there are two components to it, part A and part B, where what are their lifestyle preferences, what is the age group they are falling in, any risk factors they have, all those are diagnosed, where their waist hip ratio, their weight, their BMI is calculated, because many a times people feel ki they are healthy because they are tall, so they feel that we are not obese, but it is not always the case. When they actually get it calculated, then they come into overweight or pre-obese category, and that is how people get to know ki yes, the risk factors are developing and they are developing pretty fast.
Now, what is the role of each community worker? Can we quickly go through, each community worker, what individually they are doing, how they are different from each other?
Yeah, because it looks like that all community health workers are doing the same thing. It is not like that. They have individual roles assigned by the government to them. Like ASHA workers are conducting the community based assessment checklist, community follow up. ANMs are assisting in the screening and referral for the non-communicable diseases. Community health officers are the ones who are providing clinical care and manage the health and wellness centers at large, and medical officers who are at the primary health center level, they are the ones who oversee the diagnosis, treatment and supervision of the health teams.
Do we face any challenges in doing this kind of community work?
I think that is one thing, is that India is a country with such a numerous and humongous population. So definitely challenges are there. There is lot of resistance, there is low awareness, there is health literacy is always something which takes a back foot, which I think people should understand that it is very much required. People have to understand that it is very important that health is wealth. If you do not have health and you are not healthy, there are so many issues which can crop up later in time. Cultural stigma in diseases due to mental health issues or cancers are still existing in our country, where people should understand that they are just like any cough and cold. Like cough and cold is also a disease which will be curable, such like that if early stages of cancers are there or mental health issues are there, they can be also cured and people can have a better lifestyle to it.
So what are your recommendations now that you have explained everything? What will you feel that
people should do?
Yeah.
So I think people should first of all understand the need of the digital follow-up tools and the mobile health platforms, because nowadays we have mobile apps for everything and you can get registered easily, you can put up your data easily, and that is something required. So even if you get enrolled under Ayushman Bharat, for example, you have Ayushman Mitra who keep on giving you regular reminders that your health status was last this and you should get your checking done because you have not put up the latest reports. That is how I think something which is like a regular reminder to keep your health in your hands and ensuring an early treatment, that is something which is most important. Apart from that, we need to strengthen the training of our frontline workers. More and more people should come forward at the village level to figure out that it is their community and it is their need of their village only where people can stay healthy, and enhance the public-private partnership with local leadership involvement and integrate the mental health as well as the cancer screening programs which are individually also happening into the central sector.
So what are the take-home messages that you would like to give for this community level interventions that we have been talking about in this session?
So I think I have already told you about what are the community level interventions, who are providing them, what are their roles, how you can go about it. So I think if we talk about the take-home message, first of all, understanding the role of health and wellness center is very important. We have it at 3 levels. We have a sub-center level which is at a village level, then a primary health center where the first doctor is there, and then maintaining electronic records through Aabha IDs which we were discussing through the Ayushman Bharat. And this is something which can help people to figure out various health promotion activities including yoga, meditation, awareness on the village health and counseling of their healthy diet, physical activity, and ensuring that early diagnosis of non-communicable diseases are occurring, and if at all risk factors are developing, they are arrested then and there. Apart from that, I think we need to understand it is not just the community who are responsible, or the community engagement workers or the community frontline workers or the government or the NGO who have to be blamed कि इन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया. So I think it's high time that we have to take initiative of our own health, and that is how Eat Right and Eat More Color was the slogan given 2 years back, where they have taken up that eat more color, eat more vegetables, and thereby initiating a diet which is promoting a healthy lifestyle. Along with that, Fit India movement was launched, which is practiced every year along with Yoga Day. Very soon it is going to come in the month of June, and International Yoga Day with Fit India movement is that fitness is something which is easy and it can be fun. It is not that you have to go enroll in a gym only. You have now parks where community gyms are available. You can go for walks, you can do yoga, and there are various ways where fitness can be provided to a person. And the most important aspect, eat right, the food choices. So I think that era of samosa and pakoda should go to chana chaat, where at least the chana which is boiled can be taken up with some condiments, and that could be also a seasonal aspect to celebrate something rather than just a samosa or chai.
Or fruit chaat or a salad.
Chaat or maybe a salad chaat, any of these. So if we eat right, we choose a healthy life, all the various campaigns which are leading towards people's health into people's hands will be a success to develop a universal health coverage for everyone. Apart from that, I think use of technology, I think because once we have now the access to the technology, Ayushman Bharat, Aabha ID is something which I think every person should get enrolled to. We should have electronic health records to maintain our data into the National NCD portal. Use of mobile and tablets by the community health officers is being done, and that should be understood by people rather than feeling scared that that what are they taking, why are they coming again and again. They are for you, they are helping you, and they provide your connect to teleconsultation services also now. It is not necessary that you have to take appointment and go to a tertiary care hospital. Nowadays, eSanjeevani portal is functioning, where you can, sitting at your home also, can consult a specialist if required. So I think the comprehensive NCD services and interventions are basically management of the non-communicable diseases, the cardiovascular risk assessment and health education, along with early screening of cancers. So I think in the end we can just talk about the lifestyle interventions which has been already discussed, that the risk factors which are already there, these are the ones which have to be identified by people at large, and thereby understanding the improvement for specific disease to have a specific outcome, and we have to work together for it.
So I think thank you very much. We've had a very engaging session and a very informative session, and I think I would also just like to summarize by saying that we have learnt that in the community level interventions there are various government led, some NGO led, and also some standalone self-help groups led initiatives, which are all comprehensively and complementing and supplementing each other to reach for health of the community, and community as a whole plus an individual level should also actively participate for the screening of their non-communicable diseases if they are high at risk at the earliest. Thank you again. Thank you.